that sort of that combo creature toolbox type strategy that has hung around the fringes of the format for a very long time, even after the banning of Birthing Pod. But it's a deck that can attack from multiple angles while still having a combo finish.
Yeah, exactly.
Orcish Bowmasters, of course, a really key inclusion from the Lord of the Rings set, as indeed is Delighted Halfling. Not so much in this matchup. I don't know how much it'll be a factor here, especially as it gets dismembered. But Delighted Halfling making Yawgmoth uncounterable, in addition to things like Shieldred, Hepatra, really, really important against counterspell heavy decks.
Yeah, and I mean, even in a matchup like this, it's pretty decent against Subtlety. I guess Subtlety chooses it, so it's not actually counter.
Yeah, I don't think Subtlety doesn't counter anything. It just it puts it on top or bottom.
Yeah. So only really, like the one copy of Mystical Dispute and stuff like that. But yeah, again, against these like blue-white decks with 4 copies of Counterspell or these blue-red decks, it's really impactful.
All right, Wall of Roots and another Wall of Roots and a Young Wolf coming in now. And back to Andrew Upton now. Turn 3, the key turn for the Rhinos deck. Does he have it? Yes, he does. Shardless Agent will find us a copy of Crashing Footfalls, presumably. Was that dead and gone? We were talking about before. And Crashing Footfalls. Chandler has a quick look at what Andrew's working with. And now 2 4/4s to deal with. So what's the plan for the Yawgmoth player here?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Chandler, you're not the happiest with the way that this game is playing out. Really just hoping to get a Yawgmoth going soon. He's not under like the craziest amount of pressure. Having this Wall of Roots, being able to shut down one of the Rhinos is actually stems the bleeding quite considerably. But he needs to have something good going on in the next couple of turns. Otherwise, Andrew will just take over the game.
Yes, indeed. And at the moment, Andrew doing exactly what his list wants to do. Some early disruption, sort of cheating on the mana value of cards like Fire and Ice, Dismember, Dead Gone, to stick to the stringent requirements of Cascade lists everywhere. And we're going to see a Wall of Roots just chump blocking a Rhino here to save some damage. Oh dear, and a Violent Outburst as well, just to punish this block even further, because of course those Rhinos have Trample. Does Chandler have a response here? Maybe something like a Chord of Calling. Always huge when it comes to Wall of Roots, because you don't need to tap Wall of Roots for it to generate mana, so you can sort of double dip with your chords and a Wall of Roots.
Kind of a sneaky play here from Andrew. It seemed like at first he was considering attacking with the Shardless Agent, and then he decided not to, which I don't know if that signaled Chandler that he didn't actually have the Violent Outburst. Like maybe an attack with everything, then like Chandler considers a little bit more like, do I want to use my Wall of Roots to block this 4/4? But on the other end of it, Andrew kind of missing out on an opportunity to get in 3 damage with the Shardless Agent, because the other copy of Wall of Roots wouldn't have been able to effectively block it. So it was like, it was I think that was a pretty cool, like very small interaction that just happened there, though.
So Yawgmoth, Thran Physician comes out thanks to the Chord of Calling, and as you can see, those Wall of Roots on double duty, being tapped and also generating mana with their activated ability. So Yawgmoth comes down. And I guess as a 2/4 would have been able to block the Shardless Agent regardless of the Violent Outburst there. So Andrew not throwing it away for no reason. Young Wolf comes back. And with the Yawgmoth activation, that is. And a -1/-1 counter put on the Rhino. So does that mean that wall will survive? Yes, it does. The Wall of Roots currently a 0/4. And the Rhino has been shrunk down to a 3/3. Oh, no, but
it has +1/+0, yeah.
+1/+0, yeah.
So he's got to sacrifice something else as well.
Yeah, so he's losing something here. You can see Andrew just really giving it to that gum. My goodness. And Young Wolf now. Sacrificed the -1/-1 counter put on the wolf, so it still comes back. This is the little loop that we were talking about. And we'll see it sacrificed again. Undying means that the Rhino gets a -1/-1. So trading the other Wall of Roots with a bunch of counters on it for the Wall of Roots that doesn't have counters on it, and also saving some damage in the process, takes 4. Chandler down to 11. The Wall of Roots lives to tell the tale, as does the Young Wolf. Back to Chandler now. Untapping with Yawgmoth, never good news for opponents of this list, and with a full grip as well. So now's the chance for Chandler to get ahead. A Blood Artist in hand?
Yeah, Blood Artist, a huge one here. Really good opportunity for Chandler to gain some life. It kind of offsets the 1 life every time for this little Young Wolf combo, so he can kind of go off, so to speak, and draw a bunch of cards.
A second Young Wolf ends the game, right? A second Undying creature?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, because if you've got 2 Undying creatures and a Blood Artist and a Yawgmoth, you can sacrifice each of the Undying creatures one after the other, put the -1/-1 counter on the one that you didn't sacrifice, and go off that way. And Chandler needs something, right? Facing down, 14 power of Rhinos on the other side of the battlefield?
A bit spooky if you're Chandler here for sure. Like, it does look like he has a lot of cards in hand, but it also looked like a lot of those cards didn't necessarily do very much right now. I think I saw an Orcish Bowmasters, which is not horrible here. It's a lot of bodies to get good value out of this Yawgmoth. Along with the Blood Artist, that's going to be a lot of extra cards as well. Or sorry, a lot of extra life as well.
So there's the Orcish Bowmasters, as we say. 1 damage on the 2/2 Rhino. And amasses an Orc army. We'll see what's next for him. Does he play the Blood Artist? Try to buff that life total a little bit, because we can imagine a lot of creatures are going to die in the next turn. Hopefully Chandler doesn't go the same way as these creatures, however, wanting to keep himself in it.
Yeah, I would be surprised not to see the Blood Artist coming down here. He doesn't really have too many other options in his hand. And like, as you said, Riley, these couple of life points are super, super, super vital at this stage of the game. So
let's not forget as well, Andrew Upton is on 13. So if you can string together enough death triggers, enough Blood Artist triggers, Andrew has to start worrying about his life total as well, because now Chandler's stable on 10 with this Blood Artist. Oh, look at that!
He drew the wolf.
How is that
for the wolf?
Oh my goodness me! Chandler Fox snatching the win out of thin air. I'll sacrifice this Wall of Roots, I guess. Let's just have a look. No, let's have a look and see what's on top of the library. Oh, it's a 1-mana card that wins me the game, just like that. How about that?
I mean, that was just a testament to the deck. He looked, I wouldn't say he looked super far behind or anything, but the 4/4s were putting a lot of pressure on him. Without the cord there for the Yawgmoth, the game, it basically ends. He had a handful, a bunch of lands. He was like, hey, look, another Young Wolf, I win. So perfect.
Yep, went digging for it and was rewarded for it. I think he was considering maybe the Orcish Bowmaster play indicates that he probably was looking to do some digging, right? Hoping to find that extra. And the fact that he also used the Wall of Roots mana early left up the green source. So he clearly was a man with a plan. And look, well done to Chandler. Full credit for that victory. That was a very, very a very deftly won game of Magic, realizing that was the turn that he had to spend trying to find a way to end things. Anyway, we're going to move to game number 2 now and see if Chandler can continue his onslaught here, or will Andrew Upton be able to dig in the heels, plonk out some Rhinos, and push through an early lethal before Chandler can really get his engines going. Let's find out. Game number 2 here at DreamHack Dallas. Riley Knight, joined by Noah Walker here, walking you through this match and indeed this tournament. The format is modern, and it's a great pleasure to have your company as we continue our coverage. $30,000 going to whoever ends up in first. There are 2 World Championship invitations, 32 Pro Tour invitations, and a bunch entire weekend to enjoy the very best the modern format has to offer. Shardless Agent on turn 3. Noah, the perfect start here for Andrew Upton.
Hey, second verse, same as the first. You know, just 3 lands, Shardless Agent, some Rhinos. That's exactly what you want.
All right, so 10 power on the battlefield on turn number 3. That's exactly what Team Rhinos is trying to do. Didn't have to leverage any early disruption as well. A very slow start for Chandler Cox, whose deck is full of 1 and 2 drops. But at the
Yeah, I
moment,
don't
his
really.
hand is full of hot garbage by the look of things. Oh, how
Oh,
about this one?
pulse. Yeah,
All
I was
right.
thinking like, what sort of hands is Chandler willing to keep in this matchup that don't really have a turn 1 or 2 proactive play? And I
Mhm.
guess it was just like exactly like some Maelstrom Pulse like Yawgmoth value hand, which
Yep.
doesn't sound horrible to me in this matchup. But you don't want to give the Team Rhinos deck forever either. So
Well, the first Maelstrom Pulse is going to deal with those 2 token creatures, but he'll have to find a second answer now as a second copy of Shardless Agent comes down. Chandler will be able to play Yawgmoth next turn, should he choose to, but it's a lot of damage that he's going to have to absorb if he does so. 8 trampling damage. Okay, finds a delighted halfling. That would have been a very welcome turn 1 play here for him. But does have the lands and the spells. It's just sort of playing a slower game here, which is not really what the Yawgmoth deck always wants to do.
you're definitely not a
Oh,
very
Legion's
typical.
End. Legion's End. There's a name I've not heard in a long time. It's going to get rid of those Rhinos as well. And yeah, look, the other Crashing Footfall's in hand, but is not hit by the Legion's End. But ordinarily, we've got 4 copies of Crashing Footfalls in Rhino's decks, right? So Chandler still has to worry about another one that might be lurking in there.
Yep, totally. Yeah, Andrew's list has 4, so there is still the opportunity. If Andrew draws one of these Cascade cards to be able to deploy some more Rhinos.
Dead on the Halfling here means that Chandler won't have access to an extra mana from that dork next turn. In come the Shardless Agents now. An attack for 4 takes Chandler down to 14. He's done a good job keeping the Rhinos at bay, but now has to find his way back into this game. Again, drawing these cards in all the wrong order. Finds the Chalice, but for the most part, the damage has been done. 2 of those Crashing Footfalls have already been cast. Going to cast it anyway. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, he does know that Andrew has the footfalls in hand as well, so like it kind of does shut off that one from just being hard cast if like Andrew decides on a later turn that he wants to suspend it. So it's not horrible here, but like as you said, Riley, Chandler was really hoping for this Chalice a little bit earlier.
And here's Yawgmoth Thran Physician as well. Andrew Upton, nothing for the whole turn. Wow.
Yeah, surprising turn,
There's a
honestly.
Tishana's Tidebinder in hand for him. Hoping to get some good value out of that, I would imagine. Nalorian Reveal to go and fetch an island. Goes and grabs Breeding Pool, or is that a Hedge Maze?
I think it might be Hedge Maze.
Hedge Maze. Yep.
I mean, that's like just even more value for this Yorian Revealed as well, right? Like, yeah, it could already search up the one of the triomes that you could cycle, but being able to just search up a Surveil land, like these Surveil lands are honestly really impressing me. I wouldn't say that, when I thought of them initially in Modern, that they were just like a shoe-in or whatever, like just thinking about it with all these fetch lands, I would think like, yeah, I can imagine that most decks could afford to at least play one, but they've just been so impressive.
Yeah, really good. And a lot of decks are playing too. Often it's just the Thundering Falls and the Hedge Maze in these Cascade lists. So definitely a card to keep an eye on. We see Violent Outbursts availed to the bin. Back over to Chandler now. 3 cards in hand for him. Does have the Yawgmoth out, seemingly uncontested. So that's good news for our Yawgmoth player here. And he's just going to ship. So not a lot of business here for Chandler.
Yeah, weirdly unimpressive board for having a Yawgmoth on it. Looks like Chandler just has another copy of Yawgmoth in his hand, so not too great. Luckily, they are, or sorry, he is keeping these Shardless agents at bay pretty easily. Yawgmoth just being a 2/4 body, so.
I like this from Andrew. Plays the suspends the crashing footfalls and being like, "Yep, I'll deal with that Chalice of the Void, but that's future Andrew's problem." And I
Yeah,
hate that card.
exactly. One day.
All right, what do we got going on here? Quarter calling.
Yeah, looks like a chord for 1, probably just to get a young wolf going.
Mm-hmm. All right, a good start. Another young wolf is not going to be enough. Will obviously be able to draw a bunch of cards for Chandler, but needs the Blood Artist or another effect like it in order to seal the deal. A Patra wouldn't be too bad here to clog up the board. All right. Young wolf sacrificed, but there's the Tidebinder. Andrew was really biding his time when it came to casting this card, and I think he stifled the Yawgmoth trigger. Yes, because the young wolf comes back, doesn't get to draw a card, and the Yawgmoth is now just a 2/4.
Yep. Really nice play there from Andrew, kind of shutting off some value for Chandler. Luckily for Chandler, he does have another Yawgmoth. He decided to just play it, but
Andrew being really judicious there in when he deployed that Tidebinder. That was really clever stuff from him to make sure that he got as much value as possible.
yeah, great play from Andrew for sure. Ooh, looks like Chandler just picked up a Shelly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, here she is, the Apocalypse. She arrives. Now Andrew's on the clock. This is going to be a nice little buffer here for Chandler. As we tick down the Rhinos towards them being countered by the Chalice of the Void. Back over to Chandler.
Yeah, the fact that Tishana's Tidebinder can do like the triggers from Sheldred as well is just so crazy. That card is, because I was wondering like I saw Chandler going like, oh, like trigger, and then Andrew being like, yep, it's fine, and then I was like, wait, Chandler was actually worried for a second. He's like, please, like, can I trigger this Sheldred?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, the Tidebinder is one of the best stifles I think we've ever seen.
Yeah, impressive card.
Because stifle can be really backbreaking, right? Like you stifle a fetch land, you stifle a key trigger or something, or a key ability at a certain time, but that's it. It's one and done. Like you don't get any more value out of it. Whereas the Tidebinder comes down and just completely negates a card once it's been played. Look at this Yawgmoth. Like you're not playing it because you want a 4-mana 2/4. But that's all it is now. Although 2-mana 2/4, that's blocking pretty nicely here.
This is a really interesting attack. I'm curious to see what Andrew is representing exactly. Maybe Dead Gone in addition to something like a Violent Outburst, because the attack with the Shardless Agent, I don't really I'm fully figured out what exactly he's cooking, but I know that he's cooking something.
Let him cook, man. Let's find out. Let's see what Chef Andrew serves up to us on a silver platter here. So as it is now, this Shardless Agent is being eaten up, yum, by the Yawgmoth. So fire. 2 damage to the Yawgmoth. Trades. Young Wolf dies. Yawgmoth also dies because of the 2 damage. I don't know how good that was for Andrew, to be honest.
Yeah, it didn't look very great.
No, a 3 for 2. A 3 for 2 when Chandler didn't care about his Yawgmoth as well.
Because it was already shut off, yeah.
Yeah. And now this Sheldred, truly large and in charge. And Andrew Upton's life total is not going to stay at this level for too much longer. Neither of these life totals will. In fact, as we see Sheldred get ready to attack, thinking, considering it, in she comes. Andrew down to 13. And Chandler now deploys the second Yawgmoth, and yeah, little nod from Andrew. That's a real spanner in his works. And then a Dryad Arbor, and there's the Endurance to take care of Chandler's graveyard.
Yeah, not entirely relevant.
No, it's good in response to an Undying trigger, but
it's a
doesn't
3/4
do a lot here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we need an answer to that chalice. Gotta get there.
We need a lot. We need an answer to the Shelly. We need an answer to the chalice. We need
more or less every single non-lane card on Chandler's side of the battlefield needs an answer from Andrew here.
Yeah, it's not a great spot. Even this Dryad Arbor looking kind of juicy, honestly. Pendlehaven, pump that up.
Yeah.
It's a threat. It's a real threat. You can't even attack with this Mutavault. It's like completely just outclassed.
So the attack with a 3/4 here. And I think Chandler just takes it, right? There's no need to mess around with double blocks or risking your creatures or anything. Okay, has the answer. There's the Boseiju, gets rid of the chalice. That means Chandler can go and get a land by way of recompense.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good step one, right? Like we need to answer, Chandler's permanence. We got one of them out of there. We got 2 turns waiting for this Crashing Footfalls to come in. Like, if we can find some answer to the Shieldred, this game is not done yet.
Okay, and a Shardless Agent as well is going to find Crashing Footfalls, the 4th and final copy here. 2 in the bin, 1 on the battlefield, or 1 in the exile zone, I guess, technically speaking. And then 1 should still be in the library.
Supposedly, somewhere. Oh,
somewhere. There it is. Yep. Chandler's going to have a quick look at the cards that were exiled to get a sense of what had been brought in. Flame of Arnor, I saw that had been brought in. The Dismember still in. Oh no, sorry. There's a Flame of Arnor in the main deck, so maybe it was a main deck copy.
He probably did in the other 2 copies, so I'd be.
You think so?
Surprised if not. Just dealing 5 damage to a creature, pretty excellent in this matchup. So.
Also, destroy target artifact, super relevant against the chalice that comes out of the board from your opponents as well.
Yeah, totally. And then they also just have Agatha's Soul Cauldron in their main deck, so a lot of value in that one.
All right. Culny Garden makes a 0/1.
Wait, I did not even, for some reason, it just never crossed my mind how nasty of a combo Shieldred is with Yawgmoth. Just all these draws and gaining life.
Draw many extra cards. Yeah. Well, that's what the Yawgmoth deck needs, right? Ways to offset the life loss from its activated ability. And Shieldred certainly does that. And we can see here Chandler now shrinking down the Rhinos very deliberately, I think in order to mean that they can be blocked by Yawgmoth here. Chandler already has played the Culny Garden, unable to play another land for the turn. And Delighted Halfling to play. The mana for that coming from the Dryad Arbor, I believe, before it was sacrificed.
Correct. Yeah, for a second I was wondering too. I was like, he just doesn't want to tap? But no, he already used some mana this turn.
Yep. And so now another Delighted Halfling cycled off of the other one that was sacrificed. And again, we're just seeing Chandler slowly but surely shrink down all of Andrew's creatures here.
I mean, this is a nice little combo for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's proliferating. Ooh.
Oh, sure. That was and that's why we saw the counters spread out across all of these creatures to get as much value from them as possible.
Wow. This is actually a really, really, really well played turn here from Chandler.
Not often that we see the proliferate ability, hey. 2 black mana, discard a card, proliferate. Doesn't happen all that often, but when it does.
I would like to see an attack with Shieldred for sure, just because I think one of the only ways that we lose this game as Chandler is giving Andrew too much time. We're not really under too much pressure, as the Yawgmoth player here from this board state that we just kind of got really, really low. It's just 2 1/1 Rhinos, an 0/1 Endurance, and then this Shardless Agent, as well as possibly this Mutavault. So he's not really facing too much pressure. and he kind of wants to close out the game. So I really would have liked to see an attack from the Shieldred.
Right, so Mutavault. Was that activating itself? No, it was just for mana.
Yep. So he activated the Mutavault so that he could get two modes with his Flame of Anar. He also chose the draw 2 cards mode.
Oh, true. Right. Okay. Yes. Playing the Flame of Anor there for both modes and getting rid of the Sheldred key.
Yeah, that was the best possible draw in his deck for sure. He needed to kill that Shelly for sure.
Yep. And now Chandler just down to this Yawgmoth. Although the board is not as impressive as you might think at first blush from Andrew Upton. Those are -1/-1 counters on all of his creatures. And so he has a bunch of 1/1s and a 0/1, although that will change once the second, or the fourth copy, I should say, of Crashing Footfalls is put on the stack. And what can Chandler come up with this turn? He needs something to put himself back into this. And now he may be regretting that, not attacking with that Sheldred now that it's off the battlefield. All right. Agatha's Soul Cauldron.
Decent. I'll give the Cauldron a decent here. You know, he does have some stuff he can do with it. He doesn't really have too many creatures though, so it's really just gonna, I think, act more of a put some extra counters on this Yawgmoth.
All right. And putting a +1/+1 counter on the Yawgmoth, exiling the... What was the card that was exiled? I didn't get a good look at it.
I didn't either, honestly.
Doesn't matter. In any case, proliferate, the proliferate ability, cleaning up Andrew's board, and now Yawgmoth. Look at this. Yawgmoth's been hitting the gym, dude. Getting those games.
Yeah. He's yoked. He's absolutely yoked.
Getting in for 4.
He's actually just bigger than these Rhinos, too. Like, that is just a scary Yawgmoth.
And so that is, I guess, an answer to the Rhinos that are coming down here. Yawgmoth can just sit back and block them.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew has these dead gons. He could try to leverage, like, maybe he just has to gone this Yawgmoth just because it's so big. Like, I feel like that is probably a better use than attacking and then deading. But also, he doesn't really want to give Chandler, who has shown, you know, that he doesn't have very much to do with his mana, a clean play on this turn. So a little bit of a difficult turn here if you're Andrew. I don't even know if Chandler can necessarily attack with Yawgmoth either, though, into the face of these Rhinos. Like he may be good. Actually, he could force lethal. So
because he can proliferate, yeah. So attacking for onboard lethal, double block. Oh, and a fatal push as well out of nowhere. The dead gone will mean the Yawg... Oh, hang on 1 second. Can't you... No, okay, I think he's got a second Yawgmoth in... Oh, no. Oh, he's bouncing it. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not deading it. He's goning it.
Exactly. He's also got the Soul Cauldron, though, so he could put a +1 counter on the Yawgmoth if Andrew tried to go for the dead as opposed to the gone. So.
All right. Halfling now. Delighted Halfling joins the Exile Zone along with what I think is a Dryad Arbor.
Makes sense. Yeah, Chandler just not really caring, I guess, what he's exiling with the Agatha's Soul Cauldron right now, and just focused more on the fact that it's beefing up these Yawgmoths.
Mm-hmm. So the Yawgmoth in a position to block the Rhino here. And Chandler, 1 card in hand. I believe it's a Yawgmoth. I think it's a Yawgmoth.
Yeah, I think you're right, Riley. Super tough spot for Andrew, feeling like a really uphill battle. I mean, he's resolved 4 copies of Crashing Footfalls this game, and the game is still going on. That is not the greatest sign.
Chandler's been able to answer all of them, some of them very neatly with Maelstrom Pulse and Legion's End. And others just by doing boring things like blocking and attacking. Chandler now 2 cards in hand. One of them, I believe, is a Yawgmoth. Does have the Agatha's Soul Cauldron.
Yeah, Chandler debating an attack. I think he has to attack. Like, I don't really get how you can block here. You still want to end the game and not give Andrew forever, and like just getting him low enough where you might be able to pull away with some lethal seems solid to me.
Down to 2.
End step gone. Interesting.
Andrew Upton does have the gone here. Wanting to make sure that the Yawgmoth wasn't there to be able to block. But with Chandler on 11, I don't see how Andrew is going to force lethal this turn. What has he got?
Oh, actually, no, never mind. I was thinking that.
I was getting really excited there. I was like, okay, the cogs are turning in Noah's brain, but no.
Yeah,
okay.
no. I saw that Chandler had a Court of Calling in his hand, and I was thinking like maybe he could Court of Calling for Blood Artist, but you can't sacrifice Yawgmoth to himself, right?
I think it's sacrifice another creature.
Yeah. Because if you could, he could have done a really cool play, but you can't.
You can't. Boo. So we have the Rhino getting in with Mutavault. It's an attack for 6. Chandler seems to be considering a chord here. Can chord for 4. Is the Chord of Calling. Yep. And it will be for 4. See what Andrew has to say about that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's got a counter. He just nods. Yeah, he got it.
And it's going to get Yawgmoth by the look of things, or considering an Endurance.
Yeah, I don't think he has too many other options really than those two at 4. I mean, he could get a Shieldred, but I'm pretty sure has he already played. Yeah, he already played the Shieldred this game, and I think he only has one in the 75.
Yeah, only got one. Yep.
So
it gets Endurance.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I mean, I guess his thought process here is I already have another Yawgmoth in my hand, so this Endurance is just kind of bigger. And also, he could just block the Rhino, put a counter on Endurance. I don't really know why.
We won't shuffle Andrew's library back in. Oh,
yeah.
No, just going to discard or exile the Shardless Agent here. But probably not going to shuffle all of those Crushing Footfalls back into the library, I'd say.
Yeah, probably not. If I was Chandler, I might just decide to block the Mutavault to play around something that deals 2 damage, but maybe you don't need to.
Okay, the Rhino dies. The Mutavault gets in for 2. Chandler down to 9. Andrew Upton to 2. Chandler just needs to turn that Endurance sideways. And if Andrew doesn't have anything, he will win the game. Let's see. Excuse me. An attack, the Subtlety, Yawgmoth, the post-combat play. Subtlety flashed into chump block the Endurance there.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Riley. I saw Agatha's Soul Cauldron in these decks, and I was like, how could this card possibly even be good? Like I get it, it's extra Yawgmoths, whatever. It's seriously impressed me this game, just based off a 2-cost card that gave a lot of stats.
Yeah, it's dumped a huge amount of power and toughness onto the battlefield.
And then in addition with, like you don't see the proliferate ability used every day on Yawgmoth, but being able to just set up a bunch of counters on your creatures and then proliferate, like that is like a very serious ability.
So Endurance shuffles Chandler's graveyard away.
Yeah, it looks like
I guess it depends what's in your hand, but is there any argument to ever shuffle your own library or your own graveyard back in so you can get more Rhinos? I guess it depends if you've got the agent in hand or something like that, but still.
Yeah, I think there's a huge argument to doing something like that, Riley. I think that's a really heads-up play. I think he just decided to target Chandler because Chandler was trying to use the Soul Cauldron on one of his creatures, and he didn't want him to be able to put a counter.
Yeah, just negating that counter there. All right. So we have Young Wolf now. In addition to this juiced up Endurance and Yawgmoth both getting in, Andrew Upton activates his Mutavault, but I think it's going to die before it gets the chance to block.
I think so too.
With the Yawgmoth plus Proliferate. And Chandler, a hard-fought victory for him. Andrew really